Yes, yes. Once again, we are here. And if we're here live and you're watching us live, that always means it's Wednesday at noon Eastern Time, which is always time for the High Noon Hemp Show. You may hear the sirens going off in the background. The entire city of Cincinnati is celebrating our very first show of the month, as they always do. That's what it's for. It's not for anything else. Don't look it up. Don't worry about why they're doing the sirens. It's because we're on the air. You can trust me. I am Stoner Jesus. He is Beach, high above the Temptations in Sharonville. Of course, you can find us many places: Facebook, Temptations Beach; YouTube, Jedi Hemp YouTube channel; Twitter at Temptations; on demand, live, whatever, the podcast, Podbean, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Just search the High Noon Hemp Show. No, the sirens seem a little low today. They were like loud in the beginning, but now they're like, I can barely hear them. But we are
Mine are
here.
really going off.
So, as I said, I'm Stoner Jesus. He's Beach, high above the Temptations in Sharonville at the Hemp Quarters. Beach, how are things this week in the world of Temptations?
It is true, folks. The alarms are going off. It is the High Noon Hemp Show. It is noon. So here we are. It's true. I am Beach. I am high above the Sharonville location, Planet Everywhere Production Studios, aka my office. We welcome everyone. Thank you for watching the High Noon Hemp Show. If you're watching live, you may be watching later. We recommend doing that on YouTube, which is where I watch the show. So if you watch on YouTube live, you can chat with me there. If not, you can chat with us over the Facebook feed. We sure do welcome everyone to the beginning of March. What a beautiful beginning of March. I will say that for sure. And remember, everyone, I got to get over here to my script again. The FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy. I do want to mention locally, I'll mention this now, and then I will mention this again in the events. Next Tuesday, March 7th, is the medical marijuana meetup at the Mad Tree Brewery here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Again, that's the Mad Tree Brewery, Tuesday, March 7th. I think they usually get kicked off about 8 o'clock these days. You can go to meetup.com and get yourself signed up there, and then join the medical marijuana meetup page, and then you'll get updates and all that, and you can RSVP. The reason, if you've watched the show, you know the reason why I'm telling you this. Although it is a medical marijuana meetup, I was asked to participate in these by the organizer almost from the beginning, just to kind of be the hemp guy, honestly, to be the CBD guy, all that jazz. And, I believe people benefit from me being there, and I benefit from being there because it is a very eclectic crowd of people that come to the medical marijuana meetup. It's once a month. Bonnie is getting back to, I want to say, normal after having a battle and success fighting the Big C. And so, really kind of started getting back with the meetings once a month here, just in the last couple of 3 months. And so I haven't been to, but I am going to start participating again. I always kick myself a little bit for not coming over, because they're great crowds. We had an ex-Bengal, I think, at the last one, she told me. And so, you just, you honestly never know who is going to show up at these events. Again, topics range on all directions of the medical side of things, as well as the hemp and the CBD and all that stuff. So anyway, that's next Tuesday. I'll remind everybody at the end of the show as well. Let's jump right into the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door, as we say here. The first one are the Coast Delta 8. And again, this is, basically what they do here is they take a CBD flower, or a industrial hemp flower of sorts, and then add the Delta 8 to it. These are actually pre-rolls, so it's kind of like a cigarette. I don't know if it can still be considered a cigarette. They like to call them hempettes, which is, pretty appropriate, I suppose. Anyway, and I do have more on that later in the news as to why you may want to use these hempettes, so to speak. Again, you got basically 5 different, I think, there's a no flavor, and then there's 4 flavors going on, so to speak. How about some Yanale Castile soap? We still got a good amount of this on the shelves, and you can always use some soap. And hemp soap is great for the skin, and keeping your hands clean in this day and age of we just still need to focus on keeping our hands clean, whether it's the flu or COVID or the cold, anything. Keep it to yourself. Keep it clean. Wow, I should have been saying that like 2 years ago. That was a good one. Keep it to yourself and keep it clean. Should have been promoting that slogan. I probably could have trademarked that 2 years ago. Keep it to yourself, keep it clean. Anyway, so hemp soap, always a good choice for the skin and the cleanliness. How about some hemp straws? I think I was talking about these recently. I know I've been talking about these more recently when I go out, because I am noticing that more restaurants are at least offering or have paper straws, which, again, is single use. And so is the plastic, so it doesn't matter. They're both single use, but it's going to break down. It's going to biodegrade. It's a great idea. Same with these straws. The hemp straws are compostable and biodegradable, so you can do either one there when you're hemp straw. And these are multi-use. You can reuse. They don't break down after first use, so you could use them again if you wanted to. But basically, we offer a 10-pack, a 20-pack, or a 100 box of hemp straws. The hemp straw, to be specific. And so, save the planet. And I finally saw, so funny, because I have this quote, and I've had this quote on my desk for 10 years. And I finally saw this episode of whatever it was. I think it was actually Bones, the show Bones, because I rewatched it, which they do talk about hemp on Bones a little bit. But the quote that I have is, "The road to the apocalypse is paved with disposable food containers." And I just love I just love that so much. And again, it was obviously a very green, earth-friendly person that says this on the episode, but it's true. Plastic and styrofoam is like the bane of future trash that will be around forever, that we don't need. We just don't need it. We don't need it anymore. So anyway, compostable and compostable or biodegradable, either one I'll take. Materials is what all we should be using, and we're getting there slowly but surely, as states even pass laws against these items. I think California was the first, and I don't know that it's actually, I think it may not even go into effect until next year, I think, but I'm almost positive that they actually passed a law against plastic straws. And yeah, I mean, they're right by the ocean. Can you imagine how many ridiculously stupid plastic straws ended up in the ocean? Yay. Some big fish comes along thinking it's a little fish and eats it, or a littler fish. Anyway, so we need to get rid of it. We should be using hemp. And next week on the Product Spotlight, I'll sell everybody the hemp utensils, hemp tensils, they're called, because we carry those as well. So, The last thing on the products from the store, how about some wicked slip-ons? I tell you, with today's weather, and this was kind of by today's weather. Now, next week it may be 30 degrees again, but today it's supposed to get up in the 70s again here in the high state area, and so we're going to enjoy that. Now here's some, and now these are at the Sharonville store. We may only have a couple sizes of these, 6 and 7 maybe. But good old pair of slip-ons for the upcoming summer. I feel like the way this winter is ending, if it really is kind of ending, it was cold when it was cold, but it was brief. Again, it was like January and February is all we got here, and March could still turn. Don't get me wrong, and it'll snow in April. Don't doubt on that. But these 70, 50 days, being in the 50s on the average, probably in 60s in March is high. And I know we're breaking records. Anyway, we'll see what happens with the weather. Get yourself some slip-ons if you're in the area, and you perhaps have the right size foot to foot them. And if they're on the display, ask for a discount. Now there's 4 from the store. The one from my door is Dr. Teal foaming bath. That's right. I think I showed this as part of a gift package that Kroger's had, and it was a smaller bottle, but this is like the big bottle that we get. And again, the more that I've been shopping at Kroger's more. Normally I'm an Aldi's shopper because we used to live literally like a mile within Aldi's, and I love Aldi for everything that they do and what they believe in and their prices. Recently, because Kroger is a little closer, I've been going there, which has been fun because I've been pointing out the hemp products on the shelf, this being one. And now, on our shower shelf, used every day. Good stuff there. And I love, they're very proud of telling you, man, this hemp is great for moisturizing and health for the skin. And it's true. So, Dr. Teal's foaming bath with some Epsom salt. Scrubby. Scrubby. All right, there you have it. 4 from the store, 1 from my door on the product spotlight. Now,
it just occurred to me that all the different weather and stuff we have in Cincinnati really gives us a variety of beachwear in the beachwear segment. If you watch a whole year of shows and the 52 or maybe 50 to 52 episodes of the outfits, the beach wearers, you're going to see a great variety of hemp clothing. Because as Beach said, sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 70. It can be 100. It can be 5 below. You never know. It could be rainy for days. It could be sunny for days and change on a dime. That's the lovely character of Cincinnati and the Cincinnati area. So what is Beach wearing today when it's going to get warmer? Well, it's very simple to find that out because Beach will tell anybody. You can stop Beach on the street and ask him what he is wearing, and he will tell you all about it. Here we do it on the show. It's a little more efficient to do it this way than doing it individually on the street with everybody. We can do it on the show, and Beach tells me all about it when I ask one simple question: what are you wearing, Beach?
It's true. If you're curious and you want to ask, just go ahead, walk up to me and say, "What are you wearing, Beach?" And I will be happy to tell you. Because it is also true that
in that segment, right in person, we ask Beach what he is wearing.
It's true. And so, yes, it's true. And if I'm out and like I say, I have this shirt on or I have, something that people really like and they comment on it like, "Oh man, I really like your shirt." I'm like, "Yeah, it's made out of hemp too." It's like everything I have on. And I tell them everything I have on is made out of hemp from head to toe because 99.9% of the time that is true. Mm-hmm. So if you're curious today and you want to know on this nice 70-degree, 50-70 day, let's get to it. What are you wearing, Beach? On my head, I have a Mato hemp. And I believe I found this just online, just this random hemp hat online, but I really like it. It's a nice trucker. It's a trucker cap, basically. And then I've got my Ono Green Spring Technology, just one of my Green Spring Technology collection that I wear proudly when I can. I haven't worn my I cargo pants in a while, though. I can say that. And these are kind of some of my favorite non-jeans. And so these I got originally at the hempest.com or the Hempest shopping site, but I don't know if they still have these anymore. Got there in my pocket. If you look closely, you can see my Green Springs Technology pen, as always. A pair of Hemptopia briefs underneath it all. Some Satori Canaleaf socks, and then another pair, different version of the Adidas Sambas, which I have quite a bit of Adidas Sambas made out of hemp. So there you have it on this nice spring day here in, even though it's still winter by definition, spring-like day. Now you know. What are you wearing, Beach? And with that, we will be right back with the news after these words from me.
Has just learned that Hemptations has the largest selection of hemp goods on the planet. Reporting live on location, let's go to Kenny Biss.
That's right, Ima. As you can see, Hemptations has great hemp goods, as well as e-juice, vapes, books, and much, much more. All from a store you've trusted for 20 years. Now back to the Hemp Studio for the forecast. We are expecting highs in the selection region of Hemptations and lows in the prices, with more hemp to come. Back to you, Ima. That's Hemp News, having Hemptations for 20 years.
Now that's award-winning stuff right there.
Yeah. Other than the fact that we do not carry e-juice anymore. That shows you how old that was, because we were on the early days, once again, of the e-juice thing. And I got out of that pretty quickly because all of a sudden there was an e-juice, so to speak, place on every corner, vape store. Yeah. Basically, they call themselves. But yes, that was the commercial that a local TV channel wouldn't air because they were afraid their viewers would think it was real news. I don't know if I believe them or they just didn't like it, but the other channels that I ran it on had no problem, and I was running it all over the place. But
you would think you playing all of the characters would be a clue. That normally doesn't happen in news.
And that would be possibly the first clue. And then if you just look at my names, and of course, old people might be confused, but if you look at the names of me, the same person every time, just a little bit different version of me.
It's a family news channel, like it's all brothers doing together.
But anyway, and I did actually have someone come up and ask me if I was triplets once. But anyway,
nice.
That's just the magic of the movie magic, so to speak. So anyway, let's get on with the news. We got some good stuff, mostly good stuff, I will say. First, I want to say that, and every once in a while I do this, I just want to point out this great article title, because it is a very good title for an article. And the title of the article was Hemp, the green crop tied down by red tape in the U.S. Because that is so, and I say it every week on the show, and you know this, so true. So true. And no truer words, I think, have been spoken than that, actually. And then another article title that I have a little bit of an issue with is CBD has, and this is, and I quote, CBD has great medicinal potential, but it's no cure-all. Well, what is a cure-all? Okay. Maybe a cure-a-lot then? Let's call it a cure-a-lot. But, again, it's like you call it a great medicinal potential, but nothing is a cure-all. But anyway, and it's true. CBD has great medicinal potential that we'll find more and more out with studies every day. In fact, there is a clinical trial going into phase 2 to test the efficacy, the safety, and the tolerability of CBD and what's called hydroxychloroquine. So those will be together for rheumatoid arthritis. And so it's going to be a blind study. Some people will get this particular concoction. Other people will just get a placebo. And they're going to see the fact. It's interesting. So obviously, I don't know, I guess hydroxychloroquine, HCQ, is something that has been shown to be successful in rheumatoid arthritis in the past. I don't know anything about it. I wish it was just on CBD. I just wish the studies were on just the efficacy, the safety, and the tolerability of CBD. Now, in the first line of things, all of that was good. Phase 1, everything did prove to be effective and safe and tolerable. Now, that may have been in non-human testing, and now they are moving on to human testing. I don't know how all that works, or they're amping up their sample possibly. But there's no shortage of people with rheumatoid arthritis that I am sure are ready to try anything to help. And then we have a lot of arthritic customers that come get CBD for that very reason. So. Well, apparently, and again, this is interesting, but the first, and I talk about hempcrete a lot on the show, and this isn't the first time I'll talk about it on this show, but the first load-bearing, capable hemp-based composite has been developed at the University of Nebraska. Which means it had to have gone through, and I would only guess it, went through all the proper testing and all that. Basically it was just hemp, the shiv, the herd, basically the stalk broken down, and a patented binding agent. They didn't mention what that was, but that has always been the biggest issue. As hempcrete is being approved and used more and more, it is still not approved in the United States as a load-bearing capable composite. Here we have it, finally. And again, it only was going to take so much time because there's a lot of experimenting going on with hempcrete. And so it's going to take a defined product to meet this approval and then start being used. And we'll see probably more of these developed, as it stands. But that's the biggest issue. Once that happens, then we're going to see full out use of hempcrete, which we're again seeing a lot of as far as walls and non-load bearing possible. Now the building in France, which I just saw more pictures of, most interesting, was built out of hemp blocks. And what I thought about the hemp block building in France, which I have shown, this was over a year or so ago, I know it was on the show, but it's a public building, but they said they saved 100 square foot because they didn't have to use insulation, and the walls weren't even as thick as standard concrete. So, and that's what we're seeing a lot of, especially in France. They've been using hempcrete, so to speak, in France since at least 500 years, because there's a bridge in France made out of hempcrete that's 500 years old. And so, there's no lack of use there. They should know. And again, I did a story on a residential building in France that, the people that live there swore by the fact that they didn't have to use as much heat in the winter or as much cooling in the summer. And it gets hot in France in the summer as your standard building, because it was built out of hempcrete, which is very insulated in its final product. So it'll keep you cool if you need to be cool, and keep you warm, a little warmer if you need to be warm. So it's going to be interesting. This is going to change the hempcrete industry a little bit, no doubt about it, with this load-bearing capabilities. So more on that, I am sure, to come. Structures soon that have, hempcrete floors. We'll see. Hempcrete walls for load bearing. Blah, blah, blah. Bill to help Missouri's hemp farmers passed in the first round. What it would do would basically repeal the current industrial hemp regulatory program, which is obviously not that friendly. Sounds like Ohio, and then basically put the standards back to the Department of Agriculture, USDA standards for industrial hemp, and also cut the fees. I guess I saw that their fees were $750 to grow or get a license, which is $250 cheaper than Ohio, but $750 more than it should be. And so hopefully they will get that to a reasonable number if it needs to have a licensing fee at all, which once again should not. It's ridiculous. If you do not have to have a licensing fee to grow soy or cotton, then you should not have to have a licensing fee to grow industrial hemp. It's ridiculous. So anyway, good for Missouri. Looks like they're going in the right direction. I think it passed in the first round of voting, like 6-0. So I think everybody's kind of on board with this, making it easier for the hemp farmers in one way or another. Now here is, and I tell you, man, I have seen some crazy uses for hemp, some ingenious uses for hemp. I am not sure. And again, even with the mushroom, I just recently showed the mixture of mushroom and hemp for like bobbers and floats in the water, which again, natural and much better to be out there. And we're seeing hemp and mycelium mixed together to make all kinds of stuff. How about computers? Could you believe that you can do this? Because I couldn't believe that you can do this, but you can make basically circuit connectors, and it's mycelium based. And you can see the hemp herd. Now, this particular hemp herd, you can see the needle going in there, injecting it, just I think to get the growth. But apparently, mushrooms have, not only are they conductive, so you kind of electrical current running through them, but they have memory. I mean, the mushroom is just a fascinating plant. And I've always, thoroughly known this one way or another. But this is incredible. This is really incredible. So they're taking this mixture. And so, again, they're using the hemp shiv, same thing you would use in hempcrete to build a hemp house. You can use to build circuit connectors and whatnot. And again, I guess I should have really shown the picture of the computer board, and it had like a circuit board, and then they had the mycelium and the hemp kind of globulated on it and connecting things.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just unbelievable, the technology that's available. And again, it was all more the mushroom aspect of it, but they found that the industrial hemp was a good base to use as well. So incredible use. And of course we know that hemp fiber actually has conductive because in the experiment that Ben Franklin did, if you don't know, okay, he did not get shocked by the electricity that supposedly hit the key that was tied to the kite, that was all connected with the hemp twine, which was the most important part of the experiment, folks. Okay, just so you know the history of that whole thing. What he did was watched the hemp rope, and when he saw the hairs of the wet hemp rope go up, he knew that there was electricity being conducted in the air. So, there's some history that I would guess everyone knows but doesn't know. Maybe that should be a new category I come up with: history that everyone knows but doesn't know. So anyway, hemp and electricity. It's been around for a while, folks. And I can see, but it's really the mushroom that I think conducts the electricity and has all these cables, and they just use hemp too as well because it's natural, it's easy, it's sustainable, it's clean for that matter, probably. All right, super cool. Again, show me somewhere else where you're going to find out about that. Thanks for watching the High Noon Hemp Show, folks. I do appreciate it. This is what I'm here for. Let's see. Here we go. This is why you might want to use those Coast Delta 8/CBD smokes. There was a study that showed that CBD can cut nicotine enzyme metabolism by up to 50%, which means it would cut down your desire to want and need nicotine. I've often touted that the hempettes, and we do CBG ones as well right now, same kind of thing, would help with quitting tobacco, nicotine for multiple reasons. No medical science behind it, but because it does calm you, it would help with being anxious and wanting the nicotine. Because you're actually still smoking something, it might help with that cessation of that hand to mouth thing that they often attribute to the psychology part of. It's really the nicotine that you're addicted to. And so you're really having to break yourself from the nicotine addiction, not find something that provides you the same relief as the nicotine. Okay, because that's not going to happen. But I think that, and quitting cold turkey, they say, is one of the hardest things to do. So, finding an herbal cigarette, I know, is on the list as it's as good as anything else, which is not, most of the options that you have, it's very difficult. It is the most addictive substance on the planet. Therefore, one of the hardest things to quit. And so, finding alternatives makes complete sense to me, as I am a quitter. And I really quit. I always love it when people say, I quit smoking, 5 times or whatever. I was like, well, then you never quit. If you're still smoking, you never quit. You may have stopped for a little while and took a break, but people that say they've quit more than once never quit to begin with. So now I have only smoked nicotine a handful of times, tobacco that is, in the last 20 years since I quit. So anyway, studies prove CBD can help with that. Another dietitian had hemp seeds on their shopping list, and this was really a shopping list of 11 things you could get from Trader Joe's for like $45. So basically, for averaging about $4 a product, this dietitian had this list of food products that she buys basically once a week. One of the interesting thing is the hemp seeds were probably one of the more expensive, because they were like a little over $6 for this bag of Hold Trader Joe's brand hemp seed. And so, that was definitely above the average cost of what she's getting, but found this to be part of a necessary part of her diet. Because she says, she doesn't really taste them on the foods that she puts them on or in, but gets the nutritional value that she's looking for out of them. So, there you have it. More proof. It's proof is in the pudding. Well, it's also in the dietitians and the nutritionists. More from them later in the show as well. The Italian courts have ruled that hemp flowers and leaves are not narcotics. So apparently the CBD industrial hemp movement is going on in Italy. Now, you may or may not know that Italy is known for their very fine hemp fiber, as in making material from. Armani has a $5,000 hemp suit that you can order. I have a Dolce & Gabbana hemp suit that I think originally retailed for over $1,000.
Nice.
That, once again, just by the grace of nature, I found in my size on eBay at one of my random searches. All I really need to do, and I've worn it a couple times because it's not finished. So the pants aren't finished. They're not cuffed. So I just basically had to cuff them myself, which is great because, I can go in and have them tailored and they're long still. I got a great deal on my Dolce & Gabbana hemp suit that I suppose I probably don't wear enough. But, I think the last time I was going to wear it was when I was getting a lifetime honorary award, which ironically the whole event got kiboshed because it was within like the first month of COVID.
Wow.
Whenever that started. But I remember it was April of that month or of that year that I was to get my Lifetime Achievement in Hemp Award. And I was going to wear my Dolce & Gabbana suit, and that got noped.
Yeah.
It got COVID noped. So anyway, I still feel honored. Italian course, and you can have your hemp stuff in all forms there too. One way or another. Let's see. Oh, okay. Here's more on Hempcrete. Hempcrete is now trying to gain approval from the International Code Council with adding non-load-bearing building material to the 2024 International Residential Code. And so that will be big as well. Now, if you don't watch the show a lot or you don't know, and I talked about this, in the United States, it is met the same requirements, non-load-bearing approval in 49 out of 50 states. Once again, I have not been able to. If anybody knows that one state, please let me know. I've tried to find out, and I just can't figure out. And then I haven't done a whole lot of research, so maybe I'll do a little bit more. What the one state that it isn't approved in. I feel like if anything, it might be Alaska, only because of the weather. I just can't figure out what state said no. And this is for non-load bearing again. And this is, and so anyway. So we'll see. I think that'll probably go over quite well as far as what they're trying to do there. And then, it'll probably be years before load bearing hempcrete is approved. Maybe a year. I mean, now that it's developed, I think it may, so we'll see what happens with that one way or another. But, it's pretty well internationally accepted, at least in Europe, I think, to build with hempcrete. I don't know about, the rest of the world, so to speak. I don't know about Asia as far as building. Probably not. I don't know. It's hard to say. Russia, possibly. The Ukraine, possibly. But, it's kind of really hard to say there. So here's more from your dietitians and nutritionists. they voted hemp the number 2 top food to eat in 2023. Okay, and these were, again, dietitians and nutritionists. These people do this for a living. I should say, and actually have had educations on how to do it. I feel like I do this for a living, possibly, but I don't have any like official degree behind me or anything like that. But I believe that I am a pretty good reference for a dietitian. I don't know if if I have the best diet in the world, but I have a good reference of knowledge on what people should eat and how. But anyway, kimchi was number 1. So, it looked like fermented cabbage or kimchi, all of those things was the number 1 food to add to get into your diet to be healthy. But hemp seed was actually hemp and chai to set the record straight, but that was number 2. Came in number 2. So good job, hemp seed. Good job, dietitians and nutritionists who are, again, hemp seed is still moving up the list when it comes to how great of a food it is for humans. More proof of that. And in fact, more proof from plant-based foods, which I love more and more, and I need to find out who, if anywhere in Cincinnati, carries plant-based foods. I know they were adding their hemp burger to some Kroger's out in the West, Arizona, and those states, for somewhere only like 700. And again, hopefully that goes over well, so they'll make it here. But now they are releasing their hemp ice cream. Hemp dairy milk product, not dairy milk product. Sorry, non-dairy milk frozen product. We have carried a line of this called ice cream or hemp scream. Hemp scream for a while. Haven't had it in a little while, but it's a great use for hemp milk, if you want to call it that. I actually have more on why we may be able to call it hemp milk as opposed to milk substitute or whatever. So I definitely love the idea of this non-dairy hemp-based, and again, we've seen it before, and so this is going to hopefully be hitting the national shelves soon, and hopefully they stay as proud of that hemp on their labeling as they do, so it'll catch my eye when I walk past it. It's something I have to check out. So it looks like, I made reference to this now, it looks like we will be able to call hemp milk. The controversy is what defines something as milk, and the dairy industry doesn't want anything but dairy to be called milk. So the FDA says, well, here's the thing. The only thing, it's okay if we call it hemp milk, but what they have to begin doing is putting the comparison of the nutritional value of dairy milk beside the nutritional value of the hemp milk, which is fine because most people don't drink hemp milk because it's nutritionally equal to dairy milk to begin with. They drink hemp milk because they don't want to drink dairy milk.
Yeah.
Because dairy milk is for baby cows and nobody else. Again, and so the whole nutritional value, I get it. They think that people think they might get the same nutritional value out of hemp milk as they would out of dairy milk. And that's not why people drink hemp milk. That's not why people drink coconut milk. That's not why people drink soy milk or almond milk. Okay. The reason that people drink all those other milks It's because they don't want to drink dairy milk. Okay, the human body does a terrible, terrible job of digesting dairy. There's only, there are a handful of dairy products that we do okay with, from my understanding. Cottage cheese is about the only cheese that honestly is okay, and just about everything else. In all honesty, and one thing that this was a Scientific American article that I read that compared dairy drinking countries with non-dairy drinking countries, and the dairy drinking countries had a higher rate of osteoporosis and hip fractures than non-dairy drinking countries, because when we get the calcium from the milk, the dairy milk, we don't produce the right calcium in our body to keep our bones strong. It's it's a medical fact that's what happens. And so there's a correlation between dairy milk having calcium and us human bodies needing calcium for our bones and whatnot to be successful, so to speak. But there's not a causation. It's adult cows don't even drink milk, and look how much weight they carry around on their bodies and bones all day long, because they get the proper calcium for their bone production out of the grasses that they eat and the grain and the all that stuff, just like humans. Okay, so anyway, this is going to be a good one, because now we can call it hemp milk, and okay, because it's a comparison of the consistency or the taste or what they want out of it, not the nutritional value. It's never been that way, in my opinion, to begin with. Anyone that switched to one of those milks thinking that they were getting the same nutritional value is not correct. And I don't think a whole lot of people did that or do that. But I can see the point. You can see the point. If you don't know and you think, okay, I'm going to try this almond milk because, I want the nutritional value of the milk, but it's not dairy, then, you might be a little misleading there. It might be a little misleading. So, hemp milk, soon to be labeled. I don't know how I have to start looking at some, because I don't know if anybody actually calls their hemp milk products right now. But they're going to be soon, now that it's okay. But they're going to have to get that label on there. You have to get that nutritional value of dairy milk label compared to the nutritional value of hemp. And again, I think they just add a thing in the back. So you got the nutritional value of the hemp there, and then you just add a little thing that says this is what's in dairy, not in this, which is going to confuse people too. So anyway, that might be more confusing, to be honest with you. You're like, so I'm getting this and this, or I'm not getting this, or I'm getting this. Shoot. Where are we at here? Where are we at? Let's finish off on a fun note. There's a bison farmer in Pennsylvania who is feeding hemp to his herd. Now, the first time he went to the market with this, they literally locked up the freezer that he had taken. So he went and he had these bison that he had fed hemp seed to the butcher. When the state found out about it and they got word, apparently they showed up at the butcher and they literally locked the meat in a freezer. Now, they did have a good point, because as I have reported in the past, hemp is not an acceptable food for any livestock right now. Now, what I think is interesting about this is apparently he can feed the hemp to the bison up to 3 months before he goes to market. So basically, this is like leaching a plant, which is, if you use, this is what happens a lot with cannabis actually is they use a lot of herbicides and pesticides, and if they care about their customers, about 3 weeks to a month before they go to cut the flower, they stop with all of that, and they leach out. It's leaching. And eventually, there shouldn't be any herbicides or pesticides left. Apparently, that time period in bison is 3 months, which makes sense. So you can't feed it for 3 months. It should be leached out of its system and no longer, in it. What's interesting about that is I don't believe that's true necessarily, because it's getting into the meat. If it not saying that once again there's any bad things getting into the meat, but while you're feeding it for that development, I would think that is somehow having an impact on the meat, one way or another. And again, there's no way that you could test the meat to see, honestly. And so I don't know how that would really work one way or another. The farmer himself said that, these bison had shinier coats, looked healthier, and they did have a different taste to them. He didn't say if it was better or worse, but he did say he could tell the difference between that meat. And again, that's that protein and all the omegas and all that nutritional value, same for humans, should be the same for the cow. I don't know, because of the way their stomach system's set up or all that, whether it's true or not, because they have a completely different kind of digestive tract. But and those are the studies that we still need to do. This farmer, I'm hoping somehow has got at least a certain amount of bison set aside to do a study to see if it causes any negativity, because that's what they really look for. The study that showed that it should be approved for goats basically showed that it had no negative effects, so therefore should be approved. And so it's not about whether it had more protein or was heavier or not. It was more about whether it caused negative effects on the meat in the animal or the product that was going to the market. So, and then we need all kinds of farmers of livestock out there proving that it would be beneficial to any livestock industry to be feeding their livestock hemp feed. Chickens love it. That I know. That we've even proven. There's that chicken farmer over in Asia whose chickens were the crowd favorites because he fed them hemp and people knew it and they loved it. So anyway, and I would love to see whether, chickens fed hemp seed, produce larger eggs, produce larger bodies. Either way, it's got to be better than some of the stuff that they're feeding chickens now. I can tell you that in the mass market of things, because I can't go to the market and buy a chicken or its eggs that's been fed hemp. I can feed my chickens eggs. Which I can't, because there is something to grind up the egg and feed it back to the chicken, ironically. But I can feed my chickens hemp and eat those eggs all day long. We don't eat our chickens. We don't raise chickens for meat. We raise them for the free eggs. And they're doing a fabulous job for us when it comes to that. And they are technically kind of hemp eggs, because I try to give them hemp every day if I have some. But anyway, so hemp for livestock. That's going to be next. Again, we'll create a whole new food market. And almost instantly double the food market that now exists for hemp foods, where we get most of our hemp food from Canada. We start growing here for the hemp seed, for the foods, for the humans, and also for the livestock. And we all benefit, every one of us. So it needs to be done sooner as opposed to later. And so, yeah. All right. Well, I don't have a whole lot of events going on. Again, this Tuesday, just wanted to mention this again, is the medical marijuana meetup at the Mad Tree. That's 3/7 around 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. And again, I do recommend, if you are interested in or in the Cincinnati area, going to meetup, meetup.com. I think it's .com. Not positive on that. It could be an org. It could be something else. But anyway, and then again, open yourself up a little meetup account and join the medical marijuana meetup here in Cincinnati. And then you might find some other meetups that it's kind of a neat website in the fact that it just has a multitude of eclectic groups of people, and they correspond for whatever it is. And, they might just meet up online. They might have meetups in person like what we have, but it's kind of interesting if you're looking for like-minded people, to socialize with one way or another. Kind of neat. NOCO, man, right around the corner, folks. Get your tickets, get your rooms at the Broadmoor Resort. That's going to be 3/29 through the 31st. And again, NOCO is probably one of the largest, if not largest, hemp expos in the world, out in Colorado Springs, Colorado, at the Broadmoor Resort. And that's about it for events. And again, not too much going on right now as far as larger events. Either way, didn't have any questions, and I explicitly went through my thoughts once again as the show went on today. And so with that, I want to remind everyone: reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See you all next week.